Leo soul, let me ask you something straight from the heart. Are you ready to receive 6 unexpected blessings that have the power to rewrite your path, starting August 3rd? This isn't just another horoscope reading. This is a divine alignment, a cosmic appointment you didn't make but your soul did. You're not watching this by accident. You were led here because something within you has already sensed the shift. A whisper, a feeling, a subtle invitation from the universe that says, pay attention. What's coming is big, and it's meant for you. In the next few minutes, we're going to uncover 6 pieces of good news so transformative, so precise in timing, that you'll feel your energy shift just by hearing them. These are not vague predictions. They're encoded moments of destiny, arriving right on schedule with the movement of the stars. If you felt like you've been walking through a fog, doubting whether the universe sees your effort, your heartbreak, your quiet perseverance, this message is your confirmation. You see, Leo, you're not only Levingieri being called to rise. Not because you must prove something, but because your light was never meant to be hidden. And this August 3rd is not just another day, it is a spiritual threshold. Each of the 6 blessings waiting for you is a reward for your courage, your detours, your forgiveness, and your faith when no one else could see the bigger picture. Some of what you'll hear today may sound almost too good to be true. That's how miracles often arrive, disguised as surprises, cloaked in mystery, yet carrying the exact medicine your spirit has been waiting for. A financial opportunity showing up from a long-closed door. A love encounter that melts years of emotional armor. A career opening that doesn't just advance you, it aligns you. A healing in your body you didn't know you needed. A remembering of your purpose that brings you to tears. A moment when time stands still, and you know, deep in your chest, that you've crossed into a new timeline. So if your heart beats a little faster, that's not coincidence. That's resonance. That's soul recognition. And I want you to know, you're safe to receive it all. You're not broken. You're blooming. And everything that has led you here, even the parts that didn't make sense, has been preparing you for what's arriving now. Let me also take a quiet moment to thank you from the depths of this sacred space. Every like, every comment, every moment you choose to share your energy with this channel connects you more deeply with the Eternal Mindfulness family. Your presence here is not only felt, it fuels the light of this community and allows these healing messages to reach the people who need them most. And believe me when I say, dear Leo, you'll want to stay with me until the very last moment of this video, because what the universe is about to unveil is breathtaking. Now tell me in the comments, what energy brought you here today? Was it hope? Curiosity? Or perhaps divine timing? Let's begin. There are moments in life when something we thought was over, an idea shelved, a promise forgotten, an opportunity we gave up on, suddenly finds its way back to us, not by force, but by resonance. That's the kind of energetic return we're talking about now, and if you're listening, Leo, it's because your frequency has shifted enough to unlock something that once seemed closed. Picture this not as a lucky break, but as a door you once knocked on, now sensing your arrival not as who you were then, but as who you've become. This is not about fate granting you a favor. It's about you aligning so precisely with your higher timeline that abundance has no choice but to respond. Right now, a rare conjunction between Venus, the planet of value and reception, and Jupiter, the great amplifier, is activating an astrological sector often hidden from plain sight. It's the house of spiritual wealth, karmic accounts, and rewards collected not always by effort but by energy. What's happening isn't loud or flashy at first. It might show up as a message from someone you thought had forgotten you. A refund from months ago. An old client resurfacing. A business idea you left behind that suddenly lights up again. The cosmic forces at play are subtle, but they are real. They are responding to the version of you who finally stopped chasing and started allowing. And this shift in allowing is key. The law of attraction teaches that we don't get what we want, we get what we are ready to receive. When you begin to unclench, to soften, to stop bargaining with life and instead move with a quiet trust, the flow changes. Not because money or opportunity was withholding from you, but because until now, the energetic version of you wasn't calibrated to hold that much ease. So this is not just a moment of reward. It's a recognition. The universe is saying, you've graduated a frequency. Now here is what aligns with who you've become. In the ancient teachings on awareness, there is a principle that speaks to the unseen merit of stillness. That when you stop pushing, digging, or demanding, what is truly yours will begin to approach you without struggle. There's no need to grasp. There's only a need to be fully present, so when the opening comes, you're not too distracted by noise to see it. This might mean checking the email you normally ignore. Revisiting an old idea that once felt ahead of its time. Or simply following the strange, soft pull to make a call or open a message that seems random. These are the small portals where the big shifts begin. What you're experiencing is not random abundance. It's a reflection of your energetic maturity. You've let go of what doesn't serve you. You've said no to things that once drained you. You've stood in discomfort, trusting that something more aligned would come. And now it is. So when the blessing arrives, no matter how small it seems, don't downplay it. Don't call it luck. Receive it fully, consciously, with gratitude. That gratitude is a powerful magnet for more. If this resonates, say it out loud or write it below. I allow financial energy to flow freely into my life. Because this isn't about money chasing you, it's about you becoming someone it can naturally find. This is about energy. And right now, your energy says, I'm open. I'm ready. Let's begin. Sometimes healing doesn't arrive in grand gestures or dramatic conversations. Sometimes it walks in softly, without warning, through the presence of another human being whose energy feels uncannily familiar. For Leo, whose heart has learned to hide its tenderness behind boldness, this kind of meeting isn't just surprising, it's disarming. What's unfolding now is not just emotional. It's vibrational. A frequency shift in the way you relate to connection itself. You may have felt like love has tested you, even wounded you, forcing you to build walls to protect a heart that once burned too brightly. But now, in this precise moment of cosmic timing, something different is approaching. Not to shatter your defenses but to melt them. When the lovers, the Six of Cups, and Temperance appear together in an emotional spread, it signals a rare moment of relational alchemy. This isn't just a romance. It's a remembering. The kind of connection that bypasses logic and timeline and lands directly in the body, leaving you breathless not because it's overwhelming, but because it feels so deeply right. You might find yourself speaking to someone and finishing their sentences. Or hearing an apology you never thought would come, not from ego, but from genuine humility. Or maybe it's not even a persona, it could be a feeling. A memory softened. A scar you suddenly stop picking at. This is the heart opening not through force, but through resonance. Leo's fire is undeniable. It's fierce, proud, protective. But even the sun needs space to rest beyond its own radiance. And you, dear Leo, have carried so much brightness for so long that you've forgotten how good it feels simply to be seen without having to shine. That's what this moment is offering you. A love that doesn't demand a performance. A presence that doesn't make you smaller to feel safe. This is healing disguised as intimacy, and the kind of intimacy that begins when the need to control gives way to the permission to simply feel. There's a teaching passed down for centuries that says when the heart is ready, the teacher appears. Sometimes, that teacher is an experience. Sometimes, it's the quiet return of someone from your past, not to repeat a cycle, but to help close it with grace. Other times, it's a stranger who sees something in you that you had forgotten. The key is not to question whether it will last, but to notice what it shifts inside of you. How your shoulders drop. How you breathe a little deeper. How, for the first time in a long time, you don't feel the need to protect yourself just for being soft. Emotional healing isn't always about finding a perfect partner. Often, it's about finding safety within yourself to receive connection without suspicion. To let love flow toward you without preparing for it to leave. And as you do that, you may notice your body responding before your mind catches up. That's your intuition whispering, "You're safe now." This is not a signal to rush. It's an invitation to lean in. Just a little. To allow warmth without conditions. Let this moment in. You've earned it through every heartbreak you didn't let break you entirely. Through every time you loved without return, and still chose to believe in connection. This isn't the old story repeating, it's a new chapter beginning with a softened voice. And if any part of you feels seen by these words, affirm this truth with me: I allow myself to love and be loved in a way that feels safe. Then breathe into that space. Because something beautiful is already walking toward you. And this time, your heart will know the difference. There comes a moment in every journey when the path you've walked begins to feel too narrow, too heavy, too far removed from the fire that once drove you forward. For Leo, whose nature is to lead with passion and purpose, this feeling isn't just inconvenient, it's a signal. A gentle but firm whisper from the universe that says, you've outgrown this version of yourself. And what makes this moment so potent isn't that something is ending, it's that something far greater is finally beginning. This is not about abandoning your career, your role, or your ambitions. It's about expanding beyond the frame that no longer holds your full essence. Right now, Mars, the planet of momentum, drive, and personal will, is in rare contact with Pluto, the transformer of all things hidden and repressed. When these two planets interact in the zone of career and purpose, they don't just nudge you. They break the mold. They expose what's been constraining you, even if you couldn't name it before. That sense of dread every Sunday night? The loss of meaning in tasks that once thrilled you? The feeling of pretending to care while your soul quietly wanders elsewhere? These are not flaws. These are signs. You are no longer meant to build castles on foundations that were never yours. The Chariot, the Ace of Wands, and Judgment coming together in a tarot spread are unmistakable signals of forward motion, but not for the sake of movement. This is about destiny. The chariot brings the momentum, yes, but only when you align your inner values with your outer direction. The Ace of Wands ignites that spark again, not from pressure, but from clarity. And judgment? That's the call. The moment your higher self rings through the static and asks you to rise not for applause, but because you remember why you started. In the teachings of mindful awareness, there is a phrase that reminds us, the way is not found in pushing harder, but in recognizing when you are walking in the wrong direction. That means honoring discomfort as a compass. It means being honest with yourself when the job, the environment, or even the identity you've built no longer reflects the truth of who you are. This is not failure. It is a threshold. And while your outer world may resist change, your inner world is already rearranging itself. The longing you feel? The itch to create, to lead, to speak truth more boldly? That is your higher timeline calling you forward. This is also where the law of attraction gently shifts from wishful thinking into powerful alignment. When you stop pushing just to survive and instead act from a place of deep, self-honoring clarity, you don't chase success. You attract what mirrors your worth. Suddenly, people reach out. Offers appear. Synchronicities multiply. But they don't land because you hustled harder. They arrive because you finally remembered your value. You became a match for the version of yourself that no longer settles. If your chest tightens at the thought of staying where you are and your spirit expands at the mere idea of something more than you already know. And if you needed permission to let go of the old story, consider this it. You are ready to step into a role that doesn't just require your skill, but your presence, your fire, your voice. Your purpose has evolved. Now your life must, too. Say it, write it, or feel it deeply within. I am ready to step into my career path aligned with my soul's mission. And when you do, the world will begin to rearrange itself around your truth. One quiet, powerful opportunity at a time. There's a fire inside of you, Leo, one that never truly goes out, even when life has dimmed it to embers. You may not always feel its warmth, especially in times of exhaustion or emotional heaviness, but its glow has been there all along, waiting patiently for the right moment to rise again. What you are experiencing now is not a breakdown, it's a recalibration. Your body, your energy, your breath are all aligning with a deeper rhythm that doesn't push, but gently restores. This is the kind of healing that doesn't ask you to do more but invites you to feel more. To be still enough to listen to what your cells have been whispering for far too long. Rest is not weakness, it is wisdom. Chiron, the cosmic archetype known as the wounded healer, is currently active in your chart, and this influence is not about dramatic recovery. It's about subtle liberation. The kind of healing that occurs when you stop striving to fix and begin allowing things to unfold. You may notice it in ways that seem insignificant, waking up feeling lighter after a dream of fire or flowing water, a sudden urge to stretch your limbs, the instinct to cry without knowing why, only to feel a surprising calm on the other side. These are not symptoms to dismiss. They are signs that the deeper layers of you, the ones that hold old stress, emotional fatigue, and stored grief, are beginning to release what no longer serves. It's easy to underestimate the body's intelligence. In a world that praises productivity over presence, we are taught to override fatigue, to silence discomfort, to keep going no matter what. But in teachings rooted in stillness and awareness, there is a sacred truth. the body is not a machine. It is a vessel of wisdom, and every signal it sends is a message, not a malfunction. When you listen with compassion instead of criticism, the body begins to trust you again. And trust is the root of healing. This is a powerful time to nourish without overcomplicating. Let your meals be simple but warm. Favor whole ingredients that feel grounding. Drink water that's not ice cold but gently heated, reminding your system that safety is here. Move gently. Morning yoga, slow walking, breath work, or even just lying still with your hand on your heart can awaken energies far deeper than any intense workout ever could. And when tiredness creeps in, don't resist it. Take short naps. Dim the lights. Let your breath deepen naturally. These small rituals are not indulgent, they are sacred resets. The cards drawn here, the Star, Four of Swords, and Rebirth, tell the story clearly. The Star promises hope returning to the body. Four of Swords calls for deep, undisturbed rest. Rebirth announces that something within you is ready to rise again, not as it once was, but transformed. Not all transformation is loud. Some of the most life-changing shifts happen in silence, in solitude, in softness. So if you feel like slowing down today, let yourself. If you feel like pausing the outside world so your inside world can catch up, do that. Your worth has never been tied to your pace. And what is returning to you now? Vitality, clarity, creative life force is not the result of grinding harder. It's the fruit of allowing. Say this to yourself and mean it: I allow my body to heal. I allow my fire to return. Because healing is not the opposite of doing. It is the doorway to becoming. And your becoming, Leo, is just beginning. There are moments in life when something inside you stirs with a quiet intensity, and though nothing around you has changed, you know deep in your bones that you are no longer the same. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is your soul remembering itself. Leo, when you begin to notice patterns in numbers like 1111 or 888 appearing repeatedly, or when you're pulled to journal, paint, speak, or move without knowing why, you are not simply inspired, you are receiving an inner broadcast. These are not just urges. They are signals, like echoes from a deeper version of yourself waking up and asking you to pay attention. In astrology, these sensations often occur when your natal chart is being activated by outer planets in a way that opens spiritual perception. But deeper than transits or aspects is the principle of resonance, your soul responding to frequencies it has always carried but only now feels safe enough to express. The High Priestess whispers through your dreams and nudges. The sun illuminates who you've always been beneath layers of role, image, and survival. And the wheel of fortune turns, not randomly, but in sync with your readiness. This is your soul's DNA activating, inviting you to shift from remembering who you were to becoming who you've always been. This kind of awakening rarely feels dramatic on the outside. It's subtle, personal, and often so intimate that it can be missed unless you make space for stillness. That's why it's so important now to gift yourself small moments of silence, morning meditations, even 3 quiet minutes of breath before the day begins. In those spaces, guidance arrives. Not as answers, but as alignment. Journaling helps capture the fragments of realization that might otherwise pass unnoticed. Creative expression doesn't need to make sense, it only needs to feel true. When your spirit is ready, it speaks not in logic, but in symbols, images, and energy. You're not becoming someone new. You're peeling back what's not you, to reveal the brilliance underneath. And as this awakening deepens, something even more extraordinary begins, a timeline shift. While the soul awakens internally, your external life starts responding. Opportunities begin to show up in new places. People exit without drama. Desires you couldn't explain a month ago become clear now. This is the timeline lock-in point, a brief energetic window where your internal choices begin to anchor a new trajectory. Sometimes you feel it as a pause, like the world has stopped spinning for a moment. Other times, it feels like your past self gently fading behind you, not with grief, but with gratitude. The Death card reminds you that something is closing, but only because something fuller is ready to begin. The world celebrates the completion of one karmic loop. And the Two of Wands hands you the map, asking, which direction will you choose? The caution here is not fear-based, it's empowering. If you don't consciously choose, you may slide back into an old pattern. But if you say yes, even softly, to what excites you, even if it's not yet fully formed, you open the portal to the version of your life you've always sensed but couldn't yet access. This shift is not forced. It is invited. The invitation asks for one thing: truth. Say no to what no longer reflects who you are. Say yes to what awakens joy, even if it's unclear where it leads. That's how new timelines lock in, not through control, but through alignment. And if you're here now, reading this, you're already standing at the fork in the road. So ask yourself not what's logical but what feels real. Trust that, and say it with me: I am remembering my soul. I step into the timeline where my life becomes a reflection of my light. Because when you choose that, the universe does not hesitate. It rearranges everything around your becoming. Quietly. Powerfully. Instantly. And now, Leo, as we reach the closing moments of our time together, I want you to take a deep breath, not just into your lungs, but into your entire being. Let the words you've just heard settle like golden dust across the chambers of your life. The 6 divine gifts revealed to you today: financial openings, emotional healing, career expansion, physical renewal, soul awakening, and a timeline shift toward destiny were not random. Each one has come forward now because you have reached a vibrational readiness to receive. Nothing you've experienced until this point has been wasted. Not a tear, not a delay, not a detour. Every piece was necessary to prepare you for this exact turning point. You are not being asked to be perfect, to rush, or to fix anything. You are simply being invited to allow. To let in what's already trying to find you. And maybe that's the most courageous thing of all: to soften instead of resist, to say yes instead of shrink, to trust the guidance even when the outcome isn't fully visible. So I'll ask you gently, but with purpose: what if the version of you that shines brightest is already here, just waiting for your permission to step forward? What if your role now is not to chase, but to align moment by moment with the truth of who you really are? You've seen the signs. You've felt the stirring. You've heard the call. Now the question is, will you choose it? Will you allow your life to reflect your inner light rather than your old limitations? Will you open the door to these blessings, not because you need to prove anything, but because you finally believe you're worthy of receiving? Let today be the day you say yes. Not just with your words, but with your decisions, your habits, your boundaries, your dreams. Let it be the day you walk differently through the world, not because the world has changed, but because you have. And if a part of you is still unsure, still hesitant, that's okay too. Growth doesn't always feel like a leap. Sometimes it's the quiet choice to listen to what feels right and honor it, even if no one else sees it yet. I invite you now to affirm your readiness not just for the universe to hear, but for your own soul to feel. If today's message moved something inside you, if even one part resonated as truth, I'd love for you to comment below. I welcome all divine miracles. August 3rd is the day everything changes for me. These are not just words. They are declarations. And declarations carry energy. And if this message found you at just the right moment, I hope you'll take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you know is also walking toward their light. Every gesture, every comment, every connection fuels the heart of this space. Thank you truly for being here, for bringing your energy, and for showing up for yourself. Your presence is what makes this space sacred. This is eternal mindfulness, where every message is a mirror, every insight a spark, and every moment an opportunity to wake up just a little more to the brilliance already within you. You, dear Leo, were born to shine. And the time is now.